Man City have just had the worst Champions League campaign ever by an English side. Honestly, the amount of times they got embarrassed is just flabbergasted. And for the third time in 4 seasons, they've been knocked out by Real Madrid. So let's look back at their entire season in the Champions League. They started their campaign at home against Inter in a repeat of the 2023 final, and they were lucky not to be behind in this game, as Inter created countless chances. For some reason, this bozo decided to backheel it instead of shoot it, but then in the final minute, City had their chance to win it, and it came to none other than their legend, the man they brought back from Barcelona, İlkay Gündoğan, and he headed it straight into the goalkeeper. But then, even later, City had one final chance, and once again it came to Gündoğan, and he flippin' missed it again. What an absolute bozo! So the game ended 0-0. It was a disappointing start for the favourites, but they had 2 easy games coming up: Slovan Bratislava and Sparta Prague. Against Bratislava, Gündoğan was able to redeem himself to open the scoring on the volley, and then Foden calmly made it 2-0. A luscious through ball by Rico Lewis sent through Haaland, who got his first Champions League goal of the season, before James McAtee wrapped up the scoring. Foden scored once again as Sparta Prague came to the Etihad. This has to be the worst celebration in football, man, but then Haaland leaped to score an incredible goal to make it 2-0 for City. This is flipping insane. Núñez whipped it in for Stones to score from a header, and then he set up Haaland, who got his second and City's fourth, before winning a penalty which he scored to round off an excellent performance, meaning that after 3 games City had 7 points, 9 goals scored and 0 conceded. It was all looking glorious for them in the Champions League, but after this moment they turned into the biggest bunch of bums the Champions League has ever seen. The 4 games that followed will go down in European folklore forever as the most catastrophic run of form by one of the favourites to win the Champions League. First they went away to Sporting Lisbon to face Manchester United's newly appointed manager, Ruben Amorim, and inside just 4 minutes, Foden had already made it 1-0. It was looking like another easy win for City. Everyone was gassing up Victor Gyökeres, but when he went through he was looking like Darwin Núñez. How on earth do you mess up this chance that badly? So when he was through again, there was absolutely nothing to fear, except there was. He scored this time to level the scores before half time, and then less than 20 seconds into the second half, Sporting went through to make it 2-1. This has to be the worst start to a second half ever, as this boneheaded bozo Gvardiol took down Trincao in the box to give away a penalty just a minute later, which Gyökeres scored to get Sporting a third. However, the game wasn't over yet. Bernardo Silva went through and won a penalty for handball, which Haaland stood up to take, to get Manchester City back into the game, to give them some hope. And this bozo hit the flipping bar! Sporting then came forward again and won a second penalty, giving City an embarrassing 4-1 loss. However, they had a chance to redeem themselves and get back into the top 8 of the Champions League by beating Feyenoord at home. An easy game to get back to winning ways. They won a first half penalty, giving Erling Haaland the opportunity for redemption. And of course he scored it, relief for Manchester City. And now the opportunity to go on and restore themselves as one of Europe's elite teams. Gündoğan made it 2 with a deflected volley, and then Núñez set up Haaland, who is now right back in form. Manchester City were well and truly back. And the question was, how many could they win by? In fact, they were winning so comfortably that Gvardiol decided to pass the ball straight to Musa, who went round Ederson to pull one back for Feyenoord. I can't lie, what kind of mental deficiency must you have to make such a stupid pass? But it didn't matter. With 15 minutes to go, Man City were still winning comfortably. However, Feyenoord then whips the ball in and it bounced around the box, falling nicely for Jimenez to tumble the ball into the net. And then in the 89th minute, this nefarious, preposterous, uncivilized, inept bozo Ederson decided to run all the way out his goal and then dive like this. Is this guy actually okay in the head? This man is actually a disaster, because how many brain cells do you have to lack to perform this calamity? And then Feyenoord went through to score again and equalise. But nah, what is he doing? These guys were 3-0 up at home to Feyenoord and they flippin' drew. They couldn't hold on to a 3-goal lead to the team 4th in the Dutch league. I'm not finished with this either. Oh my days! What kind of CTE mutation do you need to commit such a diabolical atrocity to your own integrity? And after the game, Pep did an interview looking like this. He's actually got to be some kind of supervillain or something, because this is egregious. His head is all bruised and he's even sliced his nose. This guy is actually a madman. In a press conference afterwards, he ended up saying this:
I want to hurt myself, yeah.
Ederson is so bad that it's driving Guardiola to the very edge. He wants to end it all. They then went away to Juventus, where Vlahovic put the host 1-0 up with this header, as Ederson flapped about like a fish out of water. And then Weston McKennie scored this beautiful volley to wrap up the win for Juventus. And once again, another loss for Manchester City. Hey yo, you absolute bozo! Why haven't you liked the video yet? Make sure to absolutely bukkake that like button and subscribe whilst you're at it. Thank you. But fortunately for them, their next game was against PSG, who weren't even in the top 24. All they had to do was not lose, and they would secure a place in the playoffs. And it was looking good as Jack Grealish smashed home from close range to put them into a 1-0 lead, before Haaland swept in a second for City. It looked like they'd finally turned around their bad form and were staying in the Champions League. Just for this bozo Nunes gets spun by Barcola, who set up Dembele to pull one back for PSG. And then 5 minutes later, Barcola scored on the rebound to level the scores. Once again, Man City had bottled a lead in the Champions League, but it got worse, as João Neves headed home for a free kick to complete the comeback. Did these bozos just decide not to mark him or something? Why is he so open? And then in the final minute, Gonçalo Ramos ran through to get a 4 for PSG, sealing the nail in Manchester City's coffin, and meaning they were now 25th in the Champions League table. To not be eliminated, they would have to beat Club Brugge at home, who were actually above them in the table. Nunes is genuinely the most atrocious defender I've ever seen. Why the flip is this bozo doing the stanky leg in a one-on-one situation? As Bruges came forward and made it 1-0 before half-time, Man City were actually going out to Club Brugge. However, in the second half, Kovacic was able to fluke a goal to make it 1-1, and then Gvardiol forced an own goal, which Pep celebrated like this, before Savinho snuck in behind to send Man City into the playoffs. After 4 games where they picked up 1 point, 3 losses and 13 goals conceded, Man City had somehow found a lifeline in the Champions League. Finishing 22nd in the Champions League table is honestly so embarrassing, and they got what they deserved by drawing Real Madrid once again. The first leg was at the Etihad, which City had to win to give them the chance of making the round of 16. Oh, and to prevent Aguero from having to cut off his testicles. This guy's an idiot, man. But Haaland actually put City in the lead with his first ever goal against Real Madrid. Maybe they could actually do it. Of course they didn't, as Mbappe spun behind the defense and scored the most insane volley of all time. Honestly, the connection on this is bewildering. But then, later on, Foden won a penalty. This was City's chance to win it at the end. And of course Haaland scored it. The fans went absolutely wild. Look at the limbs after going 2-1 up in the 80th minute against Real Madrid. You'd almost be forgiven for thinking Man City have no real fans. But at least they'd won the home leg. All they had to do was hold on to it in the away game. Except there was one problem. Vinicius' shot was deflected into the path of Brahim Diaz, who came back to score against his former club. And then in the 91st minute, Rico Lewis decided to do this, Ederson decided to do this, and Bellingham did this. You would have thought Ederson would have learned after his bozo shenanigans against Feyenoord. But no, he did it again against Real Madrid. If I was Man City, I would have exiled this guy years ago. Why is he still playing for them? Brahim Diaz not celebrating his goal, but then celebrating Bellingham's goal is absolutely shameless, by the way. And the best thing about this game was the Man City fans pulling out this tifo for Vinicius, just for him to win man of the match against them. I guess someone should have told him to stay humble, eh? Stay humble, eh? But now, Man City had to go to the Bernabeu and win to make it to the knockouts. And inside just 4 minutes, Ruben Diaz did his best Mustafi impression to let Mbappe get in behind and open the scoring. Honestly, the amount of times City players embarrass themselves in this Champions League run is insane. I could watch this all day. And do I even have to mention Ederson again so far off his line? Then Mbappe was in again and absolutely sent Gvardiol before making it 2-0. Bro, how many flipping times are these bozos gonna get embarrassed? Mbappe's celebration is killing me as well. Get a load of this guy. And look at Gvardiol's ankles getting absolutely bukakied. Oh my days. And then in the second half, Mbappe pulled out some step-overs before beautifully finishing his hat-trick. Bro, Mbappe absolutely dogs them. It was insane. Gonzalez scored a tap-in on a rebound, but it was too little, too late. And Man City were out 6-3 on aggregate. 5 losses in a Champions League season for the favourites is absolutely diabolical. These guys have brought shame upon their name across all of England, and it's marvellous to feast my eyes upon. And I will forever remember the season Manchester City had the worst Champions League campaign ever by any English side. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, share and subscribe. Join as a member if you want to support the channel. And comment below your favourite moment from Manchester City in the Champions League this season. In a bit, G.